if you take it really seriously, it's really a religion of atheism.
Here's what atheist Christianity is.
What?
It's the idea that when Christ dies on the cross, God dies with him. It's like God cancels himself. But God cancels the idea of an omnipotent being. Christ doesn't believe in God, but more importantly, God no longer believes in God. Instead, it's up to us to believe in God. And how do we find God on earth if he's not in the sky? It's where we find love. Where you find love, you will find me. The idea is this. Christianity is the only religion that has a radical doubt in the omnipotence of God at the center of its ethic. In other words, Christianity has atheism at its very core.
What? Yeah, that makes absolutely no sense.
That makes no sense. I'm with you on this. That makes no sense.
This is built on a misunderstanding of the Trinity.
Even the definition of atheism is wrong.
So probably I can do clarification for what he's saying. When he says the omnipotence of God, he's talking about God being all-powerful. Mm-hmm. And then what he means is when Christ dies, because Christ is God, when he dies on the cross, God should not be able to die. So it means that God does not exist because God is not omnipotent because he dies. So what he's saying is, based on that, there is no God. Thus, Christianity is based on atheism. So what do you think about it?
So that's the problem, that it's a misunderstanding of what the Trinity is. Because technically, Christ had to come to earth. Christ was God. But
Jesus.
I don't even know how to explain the Trinity to people who don't subscribe to the Christian faith. But here's the thing. God the Father did not leave heaven. He was still seated on his throne. He was still the one managing the universe. Christ was God's begotten that came to earth. And even at the cross, it talks about when Jesus says, "My Father, why have you forsaken me?" It's because God literally had to separate himself from Christ at that moment because Christ had become sin. And that's a concept that is insane to understand. But here's the thing. If you can understand God, is he really worth worshipping? He's not. So the concept of the Trinity is there's God the Father who is creator of heaven and earth. That everything that is was spoken into being by God the Father. Then there's Christ, the manifestation of God in human flesh, which who came and taught us a way to get to the Father, because all of us through religion were trying to reach God, even though we didn't know what that really meant. But Christ comes in and says, "I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life." And he shows us how to get to God, that you can keep sacrificing animals for the rest of your life. It won't earn you salvation. You can keep doing all these things, denying yourself, going out of your way. You can worship 100 times a day, but it still doesn't get you to God. So somebody had to come from God to teach us how to relate with God. And then the third part of the Trinity is the Holy Spirit, which after Christ left, he's just like, okay, y'all, have modeled what a life, a human life should be like. But you in yourself, in your brokenness, have no ability to be able to live this kind of life. And so the Holy Spirit comes in, and the Holy Spirit is a part of God that lives within you and allows you to be able to know, okay, this is right and this is wrong. Gives you the strength to be able to make the right decision even when the easiest thing to do is make the wrong decision. And the Holy Spirit, again, is the one who allows human beings to connect with the Spirit of God, which in ourselves we can't. So that's a place for miracles. It's a place of the prophetic, where you're able to know things before they happen, because the Holy Spirit of God in you is able to connect with the spiritual world. And so there are things that you're able to know without really knowing. There are things that you can't even explain scientifically. This is how I can pray for someone and they get healed. Science should tell you that that should not be possible, but it's possible because God's Spirit, a part of God, his power is at work in you. So that's what they don't understand.
Me feel like probably they don't see how, I feel like they've confused faith and atheism. Like the way they say that atheism is because God is not omnipotent, and we believe that we believe in the lack of omnipotence of God. It's like, okay, atheism in itself is the belief that there is no higher thing. Faith is a belief in God without a lack of tangible proof. So by those different avenues, I feel like he's considering the faith that Christians have with the atheism that is portrayed in like local society. Local? No. not local. Society, you just say society.
Society in general.
Yeah, society in general. But that is a mess.
That's a lot of confusion,
That is
yeah.
a lot of confusion. That did not make sense. That person, that's what we call propaganda. Propaganda.
You're just confused.